All right, so when we're subtracting in other bases, we're going to borrow, or we might need to borrow, like we would in a base 10 system. The only difference is when you're borrowing, you're not borrowing 10 from the next place value. You're only borrowing an equivalent number to the base that you have, right? So, for example, if I had something like, let's say, 26 minus 7, all right, and I needed to borrow here because 6 minus 7 doesn't work if we're only dealing with positive numbers. So I would borrow 1 from the tens place, and that would give me 10 plus whatever I have in my ones place. All right, so that would be the same as saying 1, 16, 7, all right, because we're adding the 10 to the 16. Or if you wanted to, you could even look at it more like the opposite of carrying over. Instead of saying 10 plus 6 is 16, we would just say, in our column here, I have 10 plus 6, and then from that minus the 7. I mean, it's ultimately the same thing, right? But that's not usually the way people think about it, so we'll leave it like that, all right? So that gets me a 9, and then 1 minus the understood 0 here is 1, so 19, right? But the whole idea is that we borrowed 10, and that's because that was a base 10 system. Here, I don't have enough to take away from the 2, all right? So I'm going to snag one of these values from the 4's place, so one grouping of 4, so this goes down to 0, and then I can't just put a 4 in front, so I'll do what I was saying before with the 10, is I'll actually write this as 4 plus, right? So kind of an extension off of this is now I'm looking at something that would be equivalent in the base 4 system, 2, 0, and then 6. Just like over here, when I would say 16, that's not a single base 10 digit. That would have to be from 0 to 9, but we're using it just sort of as a kind of a mechanism to help us continue the operation, right? So then I could do my subtraction. 6 minus 3, result 3. Now I move on to the second column, I run into the same issue. So I'm going to snag one of these, which means I'm looking at 4 plus 0. All right, 4 plus 0 is 4, minus 3 is a 1. All right, and then the same idea as before, we have, if we're going down the columns here, all right, so I just went down this column. The last column has that understood 0 below the now 1, so 1 minus 0 is a 1. All right, and so it's somewhere here. Yeah, at long last, we get 113 in base 4. All right. That's what all of this stuff is getting at. So in the second example, same idea. I don't have enough to perform this subtraction right away. Use a highlighter. So I'm going to grab one of these. 5 is going to become 4. Instead of saying, I can't just do that. I can't make that a 12 because this is base 7. I'm going to do 7 plus the number that was there. All right, 7 plus 2 is 9. Minus the 6 is going to give me a 3. All right. 4 minus 3 is fine. So I can go right down that line. And that gets me a 1. I don't have enough in the next column. 1 minus 4, can't do it yet. But I can snag one of these, make that a 5. And we're going to do 7 plus, All right, again, because it's base 7, we're not borrowing 10 units. We're not borrowing 4 units. We're borrowing 7. All right, so 7 plus 1 is 8, minus the 4. 8 minus 4 is 4. And then the last column, 5 minus the 3 gets me a 2, all in base 7. All right, so 2, 4, 1, 3 in base 7. All right, so next video we'll move on to 2, 1, 3.